Welcome to Cowgirl Talk, where we empower you to live authentically through real food, real talk, and real life. Sisters brought together by our love of cows. We're your host, Emily, a dairy lover and personal trainer living in Florida.
And Becca, a corporate cowgirl holding down the family fort in Pennsylvania. Let's go, cowgirls!
Hello, and welcome back to Cowgirl Talk. In today's episode, we're diving into another ag chat because when this releases, tomorrow is officially National Ag Day. So Tuesday, March 19th is National Ag Day, and we thought it would be really fun to just dive into kind of some fast ag facts. And we also asked our audience a couple different questions and thought it would be really fun to dive into those responses and just talk about it a little bit more to give everyone a little bit more of an insight into agriculture. And we're also going to just give a little bit of the history of what Ag Day is and also this year's theme. So I think it'll be a fun little fact-filled episode. And so we can roll right into it. As always, we're going to start with our highs and lows. And I feel like Becca always starts with the highs and lows. Should I start with the highs and lows this time?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I'm excited about my highs this week. I mean, I'm always excited about a high, right? That's why it's a high. But I actually got 3 tattoos this week. Yeah, so I'm kind of like tough and tatted now. I actually already had 2 small ones. I got a couple roommates like, are you going to come back goth? I'm like, okay, it's such a firmer thing to say. But I got 3 small ones this week. So now I have 5 small tattoos. I love the look of tiny little tattoos. And I finally just took the bandages off of these last night so I could look at them. And I'm thrilled with how they look.
You're less tough and tatted, and you're more like dainty and dotted.
Dainty and dotted. That's for the small tattoo girlies. That's for the ones who, want the tattoos, but they're kind of hidden and no one knows about them. That could be like a new slogan.
Yeah, dainty and dotted. Tell Ruben, don't worry.
Yeah, like, don't worry, I'm not that tough. But it is like, oh, maybe I'll catch a little bit of attitude now, you know?
Yeah. Well, you've been talking about these tattoos for a while. It probably did feel sudden to people on your Instagram.
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah. But
or our parents.
Yeah. But I mean, how long have you been thinking about all these? I was surprised you got all 3 at once. I'm not going to lie.
I know. That's why I was just like, I just want all 3. So the one on my arm, it's 15:10 for 1 Corinthians 15:10. And it was a verse I saw years ago. Or I heard it at church like years ago. And we're kind of the holiday church people. And so that was years ago, I think in high school or college. And I was like, oh, I really like that. And then I actually saw it again. I don't know, kind of recently. But I had the idea in general, like I wanted to get a few small tats. And then the one on my back is "You do not yield." And so this is for my book talk people. It is from Throne of Glass series, and it's also incorporated into A Court of Thorn and Roses series. And whatever, if it's like, oh, you got a book tattoo, but that's why I liked it's more of a saying because it's one that I picked out from the series, and it's from 2 of my favorite books in both that I just absolutely love. And I finished that, series within the past year. So that's been on my mind since I read that line. And then the one on my hip, Amorpha T. It's also been a couple months. I actually saw that one in a movie. Morgan Freeman had it on his wrist. But it was in that's why I haven't told anyone that. They're probably like, I'm not telling people it's from a movie. But I mean, it's a real saying, of course. But it's from A Good Person movie with him and Florence Pugh. And it's a really powerful, moving movie. And his character in it is awesome. But yeah, he had it on his wrist. I was like, oh, shut up. Becca's a hater, y'all.
I'm not a hater. I'm just cracking up. I thought it was going to be like, oh, I saw it on Instagram or an influencer, not Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman's cooler than any influencer.
Listen, I'm just laughing because it's unexpected. I agree. I agree. I think Morgan Freeman's awesome.
Yeah, well, it was going to be also from one of the Sarah J. Maas books. I had the idea of Memento Mori, which means remember you will die. And that sounds a little dark, but it was more so the same concept of just, hey, have fun, live life, because remember, all this ends one day.
Yeah. I remember you and I talking about that.
I was like, it's kind of dark, though.
10,000 hours of driving when we were in Florida.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are so afraid to just like, accept that that's going to happen. So why not get it tattooed so I remind myself every day?
Exactly. So I was like, that's kind of, I mean, for me, I have a positive spin to it, but telling people that, it's like, oh, okay.
I feel
You're
like
dark and twisted.
Yeah, I feel like that one's a little too dark and twisted for you, even with your spin as a tattoo. I think the 3 you got are much more on brand for you.
Yeah, for me and
cute.
my other 2 tattoos.
I love that we're holiday churchgoers, because we are. Like,
oh, yeah.
Sorry. We love Jesus, but we only visit him in his
and also now that we're all scattered, and so we don't have the opportunity to go together often. Yeah, could definitely be better about that. But hey, look what it's led to.
Hey, you know what? Everyone worships in their own way. Don't judge. For sure.
And now I have a tattoo. So yeah, and it's in red ink. That's so cool looking.
Now you have 2 Jesus tattoos.
Becca and I got one my freshman year of college, so it's been 10 years ago now, actually, if you can believe that. It's been 10 years.
When Dad was officially in remission from cancer, we got the symbol of God is greater than the highs and lows, which...
Even though Dad doesn't like tattoos.
We never...
Hey, Dad, this is for you.
We never told him we got it. We actually were really good at keeping a secret until our friend Holly Lavati tattletaled on us.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, it needed to be said.
It did. How silly we were hiding it, and he was like, "You're idiots," and then that was it.
I was like, oh, that was not dramatic at all. I thought this was going to be a bigger deal.
Yeah.
But
he is the same person who said when I turned 16, he convinced Mom to let me get my belly button pierced.
Oh, you started that, because I was able to do it at 16 then too.
Yeah, because he said, you better let her get it done before her belly gets fat and hairy like mine.
Wow, what a way to encourage it to like do it or don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I think he was less upset about the tattoo or the belly button than he was the nose ring. And the nose ring was a terrible idea.
Becca tried to be cool and hipster for
Yeah,
a bit.
I had purple hair and wore the nose ring. See, that's what the "you will die" tattoo would have seemed like, probably.
There's a bit from a Shane Gillis. He's a comedian, from one of his specials where he's in Australia and there's a goth there and he's like dark and twisted, and it's really funny. It's funnier when he says it in a better accent. But really recommend watching that.
Okay. How about your lows?
Yeah, okay. So lots of good highs, lots of good around that. Lows would be, and honestly, I'm very lucky that I don't have very dramatic lows. It's just the fact that I love that with daylight savings, it stays lighter longer. I mean, it's like 7:30, almost 8, and it's still light out in some capacity. But for us in Florida, it just takes really long then to get light in the morning. I mean, it's like we're recording this, it's 7 a.m. It is pitch black out yet. So yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I can get up no matter what. But when you'll hear gurus talk about like, wake up with the sun, it's good for your circadian rhythm. I'm like, what? There's no sun yet, and I need to get stuff done. What do I do? But yeah, not dramatic, but I'm ready for it also to give me lighter mornings.
Yeah. When does that, like, what month does it usually start just being light in morning and evening?
Honestly, I don't even know. It's not even something I feel like I ever really note. It just all of a sudden it happens. But I don't know. I feel like soon it'll start to get better. Yeah.
Yeah, other than waking up. Well, actually, no, I've been waking up earlier more. So this didn't used to bother me, but now that I'm an early morning girly, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. But with that, what are your highs and lows of the week?
Ooh, so, well, I tried to surprise Emily with some of them. This is a funny story.
She was typing it in the document as if I wasn't watching it. She's like, oh, you see this? I'm like, yeah, I do.
We plan our episodes in a shared Google Doc, and I was like, "Oh, Emmy, I'll surprise you with my low," and she's watching me type it. So, anyways, she won't be surprised. I'm excited to hear the story, though. But the high, yesterday, I had my final hair appointment and trial before the wedding. So, what that entailed, like, since I've been engaged, my hairdresser has been very strategic with planning the highlights and the cuts and the glazes. So I got my final highlight and glaze, and now it's just kind of like letting it go until the wedding. And then we did my final hair trial, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How it's gonna looked amazing. So excited. She still hasn't sent me my pictures. I'm about to like go knock on her door.
You're gonna explode. You're like, I need to see this.
I need to see. And then, however, this is a bit of a low. The veil just wasn't working out.
With the hairstyle, or?
Yeah, just in general, it just was not. I wasn't vibing with it. Something about it, like, we realized that the comb on it was really big. Like, and the comb just kept, the way it would stick out of my hair looked like someone who has extensions in.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
you can see the extensions.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of sucks.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, so we might see if we can make it shorter, or I might just scrap it all together because the hair is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was a high. And plus, Mom got to be there because
fun.
She got a hair trial. I was like, Mom, why don't you just come with me? You get a hair trial and your mother of the bride hair. Like, let's just do all of this together.
Yeah.
So her hair looked really good.
That's awesome. Well, because Aaron and I have both gotten married, but it's both been in different states. So I feel like you find one of the daughters finally getting married at home. I'm sure Mom loves that, to be able to get more involved like that.
Yeah. So between the dress and the hair, we've done it all together.
That's awesome.
I feel like she's had as much time put into her look as I have mine.
Mine as well, right? It's the last daughter. I know we still have a brother, but
yeah, whatever. But the guys, like,
they're not as fun with it.
No idea. Yeah, we literally made an order and a time frame for every single girl yesterday of when they'll get their hair done, when they'll get their makeup done. Obviously, it's a loose timeline, but
you're so much more organized than me.
Well, Julie said, I mean, Julie is just as crazy as I am. Like, there's nothing worse than when someone says, "Okay, who's next?" and everyone just stares because no one wants to go yet.
Yeah.
So just tell
giving it some structure.
Giving it some structure. It brings me peace.
Gives you some sort of sanity. Whatever works.
But yeah, so it's coming up soon enough. You won't have to hear us talk about wedding talk anymore because we'll both be married. It'll be fabulous.
Yeah. Honestly, just being on my side, not as much, but like with bridal shower or bachelorette, you still have to plan stuff. And I'm like, I thought I was done with this because I got married last year, but it's for a good cause. But yeah.
Yeah, this is your payback for everything we had to plan for you.
I know. But it's fun. So fun. I ordered cute little bridal shower games yesterday.
Yay!
But what's your low other than the veil potentially not vibing?
With it staying lighter longer, after dinner, we don't have a backyard with a fence yet, which is really frustrating when you have a dog as psychotic as Phoebe.
For anyone who doesn't know, Phoebe's a golden doodle with lots of energy.
With lots of each breed in her. And so, but we have one, like something we like stick into the ground and can tie her to. So she.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm training a horse when she gets the zoomies.
They go in the circles.
Yeah, they go. And so she was out there and she hadn't pooped all day. And we're like, why isn't this girl poop? This is not good. She's a 2 poop a day kind of girl. Yeah. And after her zoomie, she finally pooped. And I was like, wow, that's a really big one. And I went over. I was like, I think I need to inspect this one. It was so big because it was like she ate a face wipe.
That's gross. Yeah, when? Like, did she? I don't know about the gag. It's not even that gross. But did she dig it out of the trash?
I don't know, because we've had this issue with her. Like, she's eaten a dryer sheet before, which was actually kind of scary. Yeah. So she might have burned her esophagus on that one.
Ooh.
And she ate like 7 tissues once off the top of the trash, and she was pooping it for 3 days.
Ew.
So that's just like
paper.
I don't know.
That material.
It must be something about the smell, or it smells like us. I don't know. Google hasn't given me an answer. But
Ew.
We got trash cans with lids everywhere. Yeah. There's not a single trash can without a lid here.
Trying to protect it.
Yeah. So we have no idea. We don't know if she's like lifting it up with her nose, or maybe
she's
it was
determined.
hanging on the side. But she is. So that was really gross.
Oh,
and
gosh.
I'm just I'm like, this is gross, Phoebe, and also I can't afford you to need a surgery right now,
Yeah,
girlfriend.
like, bro, you gotta relax. Please don't act like an asshole right now.
I know, because I'm gonna be the person that if my dog needs an expensive surgery, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, same. I mean, especially if it's like, you know, it's not something that, oh, this will prolong their life for one more month. It's like, no, they've got lots of years left, and it's life or death right now.
Like, sorry, you're like, oh, why is your dog's entire testing a tissue? Like, I don't know.
It's her own fault. She needs some more fiber supplements to work it through.
Yeah, so that's annoying. That's a low.
Fun. Okay, so dark mornings and disgusting dog poop. Oh, and on that topic, I'll just throw it in quick. Took Hudson to the vet yesterday for his annual appointment, and he is still intact. I know we need to get him fixed. But so they do the prostate exam, and she was like, oh, he needs his anal glands expressed. And I was like, great. And so I was in the room with them, and they did it. I was like, this smells musty. This smells
Ew, it's so
really
bad.
dirty. And I've never been in the room when they've done that or grooming or whatever. And so
yeah,
it's like, oh, it just lingered. I was like, whatever. I've smelled nasty things before being an ag, but it just lingered. And I was like, ugh, this is gross.
It's the first time Phoebe did that. Like, she used to do it all the time when she was younger, like in the house.
Yeah.
And the first time Joe and I both smelled it, we were like, excuse me, which one of us smells like that? And then we looked at, we're like,
you smell musty. What's
like, oh my God, this smells so bad. And then we looked at the dog, and she just looked up.
I swear.
That's my butthole.
Oh, right. Well, let's move on from butthole talk and dive into what is the purpose of our episode, Becca? Not dogs.
I feel like I'm going into a commercial. Ag Day is brought to you by. No, but so Tuesday the 19th, right? Tuesday the 19th?
Yep, March 19th.
Is National Ag Day. And so I know that there are a lot of days on Instagram that...
There's a lot. This one's real, though.
That don't feel real. This one is real, and it's really cool, and it has a cool history, and it's been around for a while. So I just want to give what the actual like explanation is and the history, and then talk about, okay, how do we celebrate this holiday?
Yes.
So, National Ag Day was established in 1973, so it's been around for a while, by the ACA, or the Agriculture Council of America. So the ACA is a nonprofit organization, and it has leaders in the agriculture, food, and fiber communities. And each year they have a theme for National Ag Day, which is really cool.
I didn't know, honestly. Like, that's bad. I don't think I knew that. And I've always celebrated National Ag Day.
Well, and I don't know how long it's had a theme. I feel like that's becoming more common with these days that are
like International Women's Day had a theme.
Yeah, so these days that are run by organizations, you're right, like International Women's Day or like National Ag Day, they always have a theme, or there's like ag mental health like week and stuff like that will have a theme every year.
Yep.
And what's cool about that is it gives organizations that either sponsor or donate to the program, or advocates who want to share, it gives them a consistent message to share throughout the day. So this year, it is agriculture, growing a climate for tomorrow. So Ag Day always, and this year, is about recognizing and celebrating the contribution of agriculture in our everyday lives. This program encourages every American to understand how food and fiber products are produced, value the essential role of agriculture in maintaining a strong economy. So I like that it just takes a holistic look at what agriculture is doing. Because what do you remember? I don't know if you were old enough whenever we got the FFA t-shirts that said, without agriculture, you'd be naked and hungry.
I think I remember seeing them.
Yeah, because it's like,
but it's true.
Yeah, food. You got to eat. And then fiber is buildings and clothes, right?
I know. So, it's wild.
Yeah, so it's just it's acknowledging like this is a lot bigger than what kind of milk you choose to drink in the grocery store, right? So One thing I wanted us to talk about was how can people celebrate it. And I think, it doesn't really matter if you're involved in ag or not. So, how do you think you're going to celebrate?
So for me, I always, of course, love making a cute little Insta post.
Well,
go Emily.
Yeah, but it's, you know what, though? You create an Insta post. You're good at creating things that are shareable.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
At work, I've been talking about that. It's, okay, what we want to do here is give people something to share because it's like, okay, she said what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cute.
So thank you. Well, now I have to make sure it's actually cute when I post it. But I like sharing about Ag Day in a post, whether or not it's kind of sharing fun facts, almost like what we're going to be talking about in today's episode,
Mm-hmm.
or it's also tying more into the kind of the lifestyle side of it, of just showing that farmers and ranchers and the people in ag are normal, actual people. We're consumers. We're pretty much just like you. And so that's where I really like to share it, especially if it is something that may be shareable by other people, to just get that message out there. Because with agriculture, we know it is literally all around us in every aspect of our life because we grew up in it.
Yeah.
But with people being so far removed, it's like 98% of the population is not involved in agriculture. People just don't realize how big of a span it covers, and just really how much it involves. And so, like you said, our clothes come from agriculture, different byproducts, food, all of that. So I think being able to see people share about it hopefully just brings awareness, like, oh, there's farmers and classes and people go to school for this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, when you said something, you said made me like epiphany. Maybe I had an epiphany. I don't know.
Yeah.
So when you said 98% of people aren't involved, I think it's right. Only 2% of the population, opposite side of the metric, are farmers. But what I just realized is so many people might be indirectly
it's true.
involved in agriculture in a business and they don't realize it. And I say that because right, even at my job, there are people who work at this dairy cooperative who don't have an ag background and are helping to sell milk.
That's a very good point. That is a great point. So that probably helps it, change that percentage a bit.
Yeah, it does. But I feel like, though, there's truth to what you're saying, and that people still have no idea. Like, they're so disconnected from it that they don't understand the true value and importance, or what really all goes into making it, like the 2% who are getting down and dirty, making the food, growing the whatever. So I never thought about it that way. And then you said that one.
I know. I saw you thinking, and I was like, "Uh-oh, did I say something wrong?"
No, you didn't. You didn't. But I just think it's like, I just never thought of, there probably are so many more people involved who still just don't get it or don't know. But I think, so it's easy for you and I to celebrate, right? Like we talked about, we have our own experiences to share. We have a lot of friends in agriculture that we can share from. And we've always, we're aware of what National Ag Day has to offer us. Like, if you're a business, you can use their templates, whatever. But I think another interesting thing to talk about is, if you're not involved in agriculture directly, ways to celebrate. And one thing that Em and I thought of as, you know what, it would be really cool if we asked our audience, what do you wish people knew about you in your ag profession or your farming? And I think we're going to share some of those, but that could also be a really interesting question for you to ask anyone you know who's remotely involved in agriculture, or a farmer and just be like, hey, this Ag Day, I'd love to know, what do you wish I knew about me and what I do? So, I'd love to hear some of the answers we got from your audience, because your Dairy Girl Fitness audience is always super faithful.
What's up?
Super reliable.
Yeah. I mean,
they're reliable. Yeah.
I would call it consistent too.
Yeah, consistent. That's better. Let's go with that.
I mean, we've been around officially 6 years over on the Dairy Girl Fitness platform. So shout out to those peeps and all of our Cowgirl Talk people. But yeah, kind of like you were saying, people don't know what they don't know, right? And so we can assume maybe what consumers do or don't know, or what they think of farmers and ranchers, but we can't always just assume that, and it may be very wrong. Maybe it's right, but getting to actually hear it could be very helpful and just provide some clarity on it. But to kind of build on that, one of the questions that we asked our audience was, what is something you wish consumers knew about farmers and ranchers? And I would say with a lot of my audience, it is a lot of people involved in ag in some capacity. And we got a really honestly a great amount of responses, but I feel like there was kind of a general theme with them. So I've combined them into a couple points. But I would say two of them that really tied together first were farmers and ranchers, right? Care about the quality and health of the product that they're producing and what they're putting out into the market, because they are also consumers too. And on that as well is that these people also care about their animals. They care about the land. And there is a lot of technology and skill that goes into it. And I thought those two were just great points. And I think it's what we talk about often, or potentially on my social as well, is just knowing, I think it's very easy for people to not trust where their food is coming from because they just don't know. But when you realize we're literally eating the food we produce, why would we not want to create a healthy product? Hopefully it can create a little bit more of that trust with the farmers and ranchers producing the food.
Yeah. And I mean, farmers are, they're engineers, they're environmentalists, they're people managers, they're leaders, they're HR, people.
Yes.
Like, there are just so many things that, they're running a business just like anyone else who runs a non-ag business, and all the hats they have to wear. That's what farmers do. Some of these other ones, I love that people are using willy-nilly.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a willing. I actually have the responses. I can't remember if that was the exact word or if I used that. Let me see if it was exactly willy-nilly. No, I kind of created that one myself, but it was in the same concept of, yeah, like farmers, ranchers, if they're working with animals, they're not just, as in my notes, I say antibiotics aren't used willy-nilly on animals. Yeah. And I think the use of so many labels placed on food products has made it overwhelming for consumers to think that, well, if something doesn't say antibiotic free on it, it must mean that farmers are just, like, actually what the person said, just like shooting up the animals with them all of the time.
Yeah, and that's a fact that I always find so interesting, is like there's so much more to that from a farming perspective, right? It's like if an animal is sick, they're going to take care of it. However, they're going to work with a vet to make sure they're doing it properly. Also, like, we don't want animals to become antibiotic resistant, right? That's why you can't just give yourself antibiotics as a human either, because if you overdo it or you do it when it's not correct, they don't work anymore. So,
and they're expensive.
And antibiotics in food is dangerous for many reasons.
Yeah.
One being antibiotic resistance, or how how it impacts humans. So it is like mission critical, and everyone agrees that it would never be in the food. So I love that. Willy-nilly is one of my favorite words. And I think that's like a topic I'm just going to move on from, because we could go on forever.
Yeah, just know that no matter what, the food that's going onto a shelf would never, ever have antibiotics in it, as there are many strict regulations. And honestly, if it is found in a product from a farmer or rancher, they're going to lose lots of money in product on that. So all around, it would be a lose-lose situation for everyone.
Yeah, it's a big L for everybody involved.
Big L.
And then the other one that I love is that farming and ranching is a business, but it's a multi-generational passion for many. So, there are first-generation farmers,
which
all
shout
the time.
Out to y'all.
Yeah, but a lot of people, it's a business it's a legacy that's been built and passed down from generation to generation. And it's, it's a lot of people say it's a lifestyle. Yeah, it's a business, but it's also our family's passion and lifestyle. So it's people care. Simple as that. Farmers care.
Yeah. Yep.
And I love what they're doing most of the time, I think.
Yeah, it's probably 50-50 sometimes. But yeah, in general, you do have to enjoy it or be about that lifestyle and what you're doing in some capacity, because farming and ranching is very hard. It's a very labor-intensive job. Not maybe to what it was, years ago, but it is not an easy job. There's not always a lot of money with it. And so you really do kind of have to have a passion for what you're doing. And that just goes to what we said earlier, that these people are caring about their land and the animals. And if their critics are like, well, you're just in it for the money, or you don't care about the product because you're just, this is a business. You have to be able to make money for something to be viable, but that doesn't automatically mean it's bad. And such a large portion yet of farms and ranches in the United States are family owned and operated still. So even if they're big and they're making maybe lots of money, it's still families behind that still really care about the product they're producing.
Yeah. Nothing grinds my gears more than when someone's immediate, their immediate point in any argument is, well, you do it to make money. Well, yeah,
what doesn't anyone do anything?
What are you to make money? Welcome to life, asshole.
Yeah, that's also like doctors. Like, oh, do doctors make a lot of money? Do they not care about their patients? I mean, I hope they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, some people might have that.
They just have a whole conspiracy.
How deep you want to go into it, but that grinds my gears when people use it in ways of what I feel are inappropriate ways. But you said something, Em, about how hard farming is. You and I grew up working on farms. I have no desire to work on a farm or own a farm. I would love to own a farm and manage it and have people that work at it. If I could live on a farm and not have to work on it every day, amazing. Yeah. And that doesn't mean I love cows. I love talking about it. I love working for farmers and with farmers. But
it's a hard job.
I am so selfish that I want to be able to do what I want, right? I don't have the discipline or the patience to be tied to that much and responsible for that much land, the lives of animals. So it is a beast to farm of any sort.
Yeah. And the farmers and ranchers, some may look at this in a negative way, but it's like, oh, you do it for the money. But farmers and ranchers make more money when they have healthy animals, when they're taking care of them, and when they're managing the land in a proper way. So again, when that is the top priority, it's a win-win all around for farmers.
Yeah. Mad respect for people who have the patience, the discipline, the care.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all.
But what I'd like to talk about next is some of these interesting ag facts that your Cowgirl Talk audience shared. Because there's, we'll talk a lot in this podcast about cows and antibiotics and farming and health. Because
that's what we know.
Right? But there are just so many other interesting facts that are out there. One that I was just Googling because someone said all of the amazing byproducts that come from animals. Cows are crazy. Literally, people talk about cows upcycling forages that grow on land that can't produce anything else into milk and meat, right? But then they continue upcycling
forever.
Cows are the most respected and used animals, I would argue. Obviously, I'm biased.
We love them.
But there's cow in Marshmallow is the one that we got. But also, I use beef tallow skincare now. It's amazing. And other items which contain beef byproducts are insulin, which is crazy. Wow. Shout out diabetics. Dog food, obviously.
Yeah.
Rawhide bones, laundry pre-treatment, bone china, toilet paper to make it soft, glue, dish soap, candles, film, crayons, paintbrushes, printing ink, nail polish remover, deodorants, antifreeze, hydraulic brake fluid, car wax, highways, tires, and so much more.
Wow. I was shook at a lot of those because there's some obvious ones, right? But then you just don't realize all those other products you would never think that an animal is going to be able to get tied into or used for.
Yeah. And it's okay. And then manure, fertilizer, and fat can be used. People use tallow for cooking. People use tallow.
Our mom does it, right?
Yeah. Tallow for skincare, all the things. So I thought that one was wickedly interesting.
That is so cool. And for anyone who wants to talk their ish on animals or cows are just wasteful and using products that could be used elsewhere. No, a life cycle of a cow can just be utilized in so many beneficial ways for recycling and upcycling things. Yeah. And it's so cool.
How long does that glue sit on your shelf? That cow's life has lived forever.
Yeah, this is my grandma cow. She's been here 50 years. And or if it's a beef cow, it could be male or female still. That is Awesome. But yeah, that was one of the fun parts about asking the audience, like, what is one of your favorite or most interesting ag facts, is that we did get some in that weren't necessarily just about animal ag, because again, that is what we have a little more experience with. But one of the next facts was agriculture is the single largest employer in the world. And I read that. I was like, what? But it kind of goes off of our earlier conversation of, maybe not directly being a farmer or rancher, but somehow being tied into it. And I just wanted to read the stat so people just don't think we're pulling that number from wherever. But the Sustainable Development Goals note that agriculture is the single largest employer in the world. Globally, 40% of the population earns its income from agriculture. How cool is that?
I mean, it's wild. I think people forget because we have it, well, and obviously here in the United States, we have it so easy.
Yeah.
That people just forget, like, y'all, no food, no housing, no infrastructure.
No farmers, no food.
Like,
you might have seen that bumper sticker somewhere.
Yeah, it's just agriculture is so critical to the infrastructure of life, of communities.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think that's why you and I get so passionate about it.
Yeah, it matters.
I mean, and I think in Pennsylvania, dairy is one of, if not the, like, it's a big employer in Pennsylvania agriculture, right? So, and I don't have the stats in front of me, so I'm not going to butcher them, but I've sat in
it matters
on some presentations that it's just like, whenever we go to communities, Rotary clubs, say, hey, come in and talk to us about ag. It's like, this is how much money that dairy in Pennsylvania is putting back into the economy through jobs, right? Like, not only are we feeding you, we're employing people. Yep. And it's
cool.
Just, people don't get it. And I hope people do start to get it.
Yeah. And yeah,
it's such a big deal.
Whether or not you eat everything, you're vegetarian, you're vegan, I mean, agriculture still impacts you in every single capacity. And without it, there just wouldn't be a lot going on. I mean, that was what everything started on.
Yeah. And then the next one, I'm just going to do two at once because they're both state specific.
Yeah, these are fun ones.
Pennsylvania fact in here. So
I know.
California is the #1 ag state because it's freaking massive.
Also, I want to throw in there the person that said that, she's like, it's not all bad over here in California. So she did mention that with it being the #1 ag state.
Oh, yeah. I would like to see the research studies behind happy cows come from California because they look pretty damn happy in Pennsylvania.
It just doesn't sound as catchy.
It doesn't. So California is #1 ag state. North Dakota is the #1 producer of honey in the U.S. That's interesting.
I would not have guessed that.
No. Me either.
I don't know what I would have guessed, but it probably wasn't going to be North Dakota.
And I'm pretty sure, I'm looking it up right now, PA #1 mushroom state.
Oh. It's lame. Just pretend we didn't say that.
Yeah.
I do like truffles, like truffle oil.
Yeah. It's like, did you know Pennsylvania is home to the largest grower of specialty mushrooms in the U.S.? September is National Mushroom Month, and Kennett Square, PA is the known mushroom capital of the world. Okay, this is crazy.
Wow, good for you guys.
Pennsylvania produces 68% of the nation's 946 million pounds of mushrooms.
No way. I'm not a mushroom girl, but that's wild. I mean, that's a large chunk. I wonder if it's, I guess, the soil, right? In Pennsylvania is preferable for that.
I think it's that. It must be the humidity because mushrooms like dark, damp, and cold because it gets pretty sad here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, like y'all are just begging for sunshine as it's like super foggy outside here, but we at least get sunshine.
Don't worry, we've got these slimy mushrooms for you to eat.
What's interesting? The truffle.
What's interesting to me, I mean, California just has such a diverse landscape that they can do so many things. I'm sure they have the greatest Pinot Noir in the world. If you've ever been to Napa, it is.
Yeah, winery, that's ag.
Yeah, I thought people were just being snooty about Napa. They're right. When I got to go, I was like, oh, I get it. And maybe it's because they told me that this glass would cost $300 if I bought it. I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, it tastes better.
Gosh, this better be the best glass of wine I've ever had.
But the North Dakota being the #1 producer of honey, I've always found it interesting about honey when people say local honey is good for allergies.
Yeah.
Now, I'm your resident allergy girl. It's never worked for me, but I don't think I did it religiously enough, so I'm probably not a good study. But because bees are pollinating in your local area, that helps you build resistance to allergens in the area.
Yep. That's awesome.
So, yeah. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And I think the next one is, feeding more people with less land and animals than ever before. And I think, Emily, that transitions perfectly into what we wanted to do next. So I'm going to let you take it from here.
Yeah. So we thought it would be fun to read a lot of the input from y'all as the audience with what you would love consumers to know and just some fun facts, which again, I've learned some from here as well. But we also thought we could end with what is a fact that we like to share with friends or family, almost like Becca called it, like a party trick. And so I think something that I love to talk about is, of course, dairy, but it's the fact that more milk is produced with less resources, just like Becca read. But I did just want to bring out some stats on that specifically for milk. So from 2007 to 2017, and even before that, right? Like sustainability just continued to get better and better. But from those 10 years, producing a gallon of milk requires 25% fewer cows, 17% less feed, 21% less land, and 31% less water. And also, there's the reduction. I know, right? So cool.
It's
and then
crazy.
I always kind of knew those numbers, but then there were a few other that I thought was really cool. Was again the fewer cows. I was like, oh wow, which would love to if there were more dairy cows. We love dairy cows, but all those cows are also then producing 21% less manure, which is like, oh, okay. And then just overall, there was the total milk production in the US increased as well with all of that, while all those other resources going down. And again, even just less manure, which was, I guess if there's less cows, there's less manure. So maybe that's not that crazy. Duh, Emily.
It's like,
silly.
Oh, wait, actually, that makes sense.
Duh.
I can't remember the number, and I'm going to need to call Laura Daniels so I can have this in my pocket. But at YDLI, I always come back to this. In her presentation, she was talking about there's just like this astronomical shift from, I think, like the 40s, like the 1940s, of way more cows, way less milk, to now we have way less cows and way more milk. And the shift of that, and it's, it's just crazy how much more efficient. And I'm sure you could find that stat.
I saw it was
anywhere.
Like almost, I don't know. Actually, I think I maybe have it pulled up, but I won't. Oh, from 1944 to 2007, it was 90% less land, 65% less water, and a 63% smaller carbon footprint to produce a gallon of milk over that 63-year period.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm sure you could find that stat for like a lot of different.
Yes. Yeah. For so much of agriculture.
Types of agriculture, right? And I mean, that's just going to keep becoming mission critical because, like, okay, climate change just naturally, things are going to evolve, things are going to change. People just keep expanding and like we just keep building things. So we've got to feed more people with bigger appetites.
Yeah.
Across the globe. Like, hello,
9 billion people, man.
People in Asia love US protein. Like, love it. And people, I mean, another crazy fact, right? Like, people in foreign countries love US or dry milk powder or milk powder from the US because it's so safe and they use it in a lot of baby formulas.
Oh, interesting.
We have so many regulations around food. So, haters, people
Get
love
your
us.
haterade out of here.
But then I think, I wasn't able to pick a fact, Emily. Sorry. But what I thought was like super interesting, or what I'd like to share as my party trick, is my friends Elle and Sully, or Chitty and Sully, love to just blast off these like ridiculous Instagram videos or questions to me and see what I have to say. And the first thing is I texted them last night and I said,
Oh gosh, because they're funny. So I'm
I
curious
said,
what this is.
what is the craziest thing I've ever told you or you feel like you've ever asked me about agriculture?
Uh-oh. Is it weird?
Yeah, it's weird. Uh, so Sully's was debunking the antibiotic and feed conspiracies that people, I'll just say people, hold against the milk industry. And he said, also insane that you can't legally sell raw milk in the store in PA. And I was like, wait, he knows I'm team pasteurized milk. Like, why is he trying to get me fired up about raw milk versus pasteurized milk?
Probs.
And I was like, hold on, Sully. He go, can or cannot? He said, cannot. And then he said, I also cannot believe that milk comes from the cow's penis.
Oh God.
Listening to this, and if Emily feels like we need to cut it, we can.
No, that's funny because he would just say something off the wall like that.
I was like,
also,
okay,
for anyone listening, it does come from the udder, just for anyone who is not involved in ag.
Just like any other mammal, that's where the milk comes from.
The boobs.
But it just made me laugh, and then so I picked my own craziest fact that we've talked about. And recently, they sent me a video that someone was talking about, like the EU rejects all of the US's milk because it contains RBST. And so like facts like that it's yes true, milk in Europe and Canada with RBST and it is illegal, so they would not they would not take exports from the US. But most milk, if not like other than raw milk, like or things that aren't regulated, most doesn't have RBST in it, right? So that's something so it's just those when people come to me with, okay, they said a true fact, but they
cherry picked the information. Yeah.
They cherry picked it without the context. It's like, yeah, they're not wrong, but they're still taking milk because most of our milk doesn't have it. And also the lady in the video didn't even say, she said like RGBTE or something. She didn't even say RBST. Like you didn't even get the growth hormone right. So
you tried and failed.
You suck. I commented on the video.
Like, hey, you suck. Just so.
No, we're just not. Like, hey, first of all, you didn't get this right. And then Sully and Chitty and Joey made fun of me so hard for commenting. And so I went back into
a couple weeks ago on she's a financial girl and she was just talking mad crap about the dairy industry. And I just commented on it. And I was like, I'm not ever this person, but I was like, you suck. I didn't say that. I put like actual facts in the comment.
But so no one, like, I left it there because I said, guys, I've done it. I've got to leave it there. But then, 3 weeks went by. No one interacted with it. And I deleted it. I was like, this is dumb.
You need to commit to it, Becca.
No.
You have to commit to being just willing to accept potentially being a troll on the internet.
But I realized the video was from like a year or 2 years ago or something. And it just must have resurfaced. Probably never see it.
Like, oh God.
Oh, but yeah, I love when they ask me those questions. It's about lab-grown meat. It's about antibiotics. It's about the differences between raw and pasteurized milk and like what you need to know about both, whatever you may choose. And I love that.
Yeah. And I guess quickly then, just to add before we wrap it up, and I almost wanted to say it earlier, like what we wish people knew about farmers and ranchers is that people go to school for this. People literally study this. People research this. And I only say that because for us, that's obvious. But even, for example, like Haley Pfeiffer from She Likes Milk, her account has really grown. And she grew up in the dairy industry. She studied dairy science. And anytime she's mentioned it, people are like, that's a degree. I mean, that's a thing. And we've mentioned to people we've met, like, oh, I'm ag business. Ruben was ag science. And people just are blown away that you go to school to be a farmer or you go to school for agriculture. So it is just, there's so much, there's so much technology involved in the people that are behind this stuff. They've literally spent years studying it.
You know what? Oh my God. That makes me so angry.
But like if people aren't involved, I mean, you just want to think of it.
It's just like, okay, so I was ag business and international agriculture. And with the international ag minor, I got to go tour the CIA. And
that's cool.
Because they were basically using it as an opportunity to recruit students for their agricultural team. Like, literally, there are people who talk about how to prevent war based on food. Like, guys, this is real. People work at the CIA with agricultural degrees.
What's up?
What's up?
Not us, but maybe.
No, my God, no. I would be the worst CIA
Dairy Girl
agent.
Fitness is a front.
Did you hear this gossip from blah, blah, blah country at the dinner table?
I'd be posting about it on Dairy Girl Fitness story. Like, look what I heard today.
Oh my God, I can't keep that kind of secret.
No, I don't want that responsibility. But yeah, I had to throw that in there because I think that is also almost like a party trick, kind of a fun fact, but also something I think more consumers should know is that the people that are doing these things have studied it, are experts in it, and they care.
Yep. All right, Emmy.
Mic drop.
Mic drop on that.
I can't.
Let's move into.
It'll be so loud.
I think this cheap mic I DoorDashed from Target might actually break if I mic dropped it.
Yeah, we'll keep them where they are right now. But we can move on into our weekly hot take. And we did kind of last week was almost like a hot take obsession. This week is a hot take diving into the world of country albums. And I wanted to my hot take was, we all know Beyoncé did the Texas Hold'em song, which honestly is a bop. I love it.
So good.
She officially announced she's coming out the country album. And I'm for it. Honestly, you know what? I know some people are haters, but if it gets more people involved in the Western culture and maybe, you know, a group of people that maybe never felt welcomed in country music and in that culture, I'm for it. And honestly, it's probably going to be really good. So yeah, that's me.
I don't understand, like, first of all, I feel like it's the same kind of people or the same group of people who also get upset at poppy country music. And it's not, you know, the same
not real country.
Yeah, the same people who ate Florida Georgia Line, right? But I think, one, country has a bazillion genres within itself, or maybe subdivisions within its own genre. Just like pop music does, or just like rock music does, right? Yeah. Like, I feel like Weezer and Led Zeppelin were, if I might be aging myself here, you know,
3 years older than me.
It doesn't bother me. Like, I love Texas Hold'em. Don't really like 16 Carriages.
Oh, I haven't. There's another one. I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, 16 Carriages it's an okay song. I don't love it. Texas Hold'em I love, but that's probably just based on my personal preference. Yeah. And it's also like, okay, country artists have been breaking into the pop scene forever.
Yeah, we're taking their space.
Yeah, so why is it not okay for them to come into our space, right? And if you don't like it, you don't listen to it. And I don't think that whether you like Beyoncé or not, the respect she has for music as an artist, she's not going to come in and not do her research to, like, appropriate the culture of country or whatever you're going to say. So, and Dolly Parton said it was okay. Well, no, Dolly Parton, there was a quote that she has heard rumors that she might do a cover of Jolene on her country album. And Dolly said,
that would be good.
Oh, it would be so good. And I don't know, like, if Dolly says it's okay, people. Like, it's fine. Yeah. So when people get upset about that kind of stuff, I just get so confused.
Why are you so mad? Silly.
Why are you so mad? I know.
And I think it's because maybe agriculture, well, not tag, but like country, it's a smaller genre, right? Or maybe not even smaller, but the people that are in it feels like they want to try to keep it exclusive, which I think is so silly. And if anyone wants to come in and be more involved in Western culture or farming culture or whatever it is, welcome them in. I'm so tired of people trying to gatekeep agriculture or like country living and then getting upset when people try to find their own unique way to get involved. I mean, I think it's cool if she can bring in more people to feel more comfortable in that space and celebrate it. And again, make good music while doing it. I'm all for it.
Yeah. And I know that people, whenever something is such a strong part of your brand and what you tie yourself to, like how we tie ourselves to agriculture, right? And when someone comes in with something that we don't like, we get pretty mad, right? Yeah. It's like, no, I've worked really hard to make this a part of my brand, and now you're coming in with something I don't agree with. That's hard to accept. I guess maybe just because I don't care about music that much, that I've never made music a part of my brand, that I don't understand, or I've never tied my culture or my values to music. And I think a lot of people do that with country music.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, now that I'm in Florida, but I've lived in Georgia for a bit, and that's where Ruben's from. Even just listening to the country songs about it, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I mean, they're literally singing about these red dirt roads that they grew up on.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. But also, relax.
Not that big of a deal.
She's going to make an album. She's going to make $1 bazillion. And then maybe she'll go to techno next, or polka music, or gospel music. She's probably already done gospel music.
She should. That would be good.
Oh, she would be great at gospel music. Anyways.
I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm for it. I'm glad we had positive spins on our hot takes this week.
Yeah. Yeah. No haterade from us today.
I know. Sometimes we're a little haterade. But hey, that's why it's called a hot take. But I love being able to have this conversation because I know we both enjoy talking about agriculture. And I'm excited to see how everyone celebrates National Ag Day and what kind of post we put up. And I feel like there's pressure on it now. It has to be amazing. But either way, thanks for listening, ladies, cowgirls, men, whatever, everyone. Thanks for listening. Yep. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, if you want to support us, subscribe, follow, download, however it works, rate the show if you enjoyed it. And as always, if you have any feedback, please let us know. We're all ears. And if you have any more random fun facts about agriculture that you want to share with us, I'm still always just very interested in hearing them.
And as always, have a great day, cowgirls. Bye.
Bye.